Hello, welcome to the short presentation about KOALA Hero Toolkit, a new approach to inform families for mobile datafication risks. My name is Zhao. I'm a senior researcher from Department of Computer Science at Oxford University. I'm the corresponding author of the paper, and I'm presenting the research on behalf of my co-authors. The development of KOALA began in 2018 against the backdrop of the rise of mobile technologies adoptions in UK families, especially for young children. The annual report from the UK Ofcom produces an updated media usage summary of the UK population, particularly with dedicated report for children and families' media consumptions. The latest Ofcom report in 2023 shows that 90% of the children are actively online, which is even higher than the percentage of the general population that are online in the UK, which is 93%. The number of children above 10 years old owning their own devices has also seen a big increase, jumping from 50% to 6% in comparison to the report from 2021. So, how do children spend their time online? Mobile phones and tablets were the mostly used devices to go online, with older children prefer mobile phones, whereas younger children mostly using tablets. And what do they do online? According to the report of all the mobile apps, social media apps still remain the top of the list amongst the children, with a significant proportion of them being under 13. Given this background, it's not surprising that parental control apps are a dominant mechanism on the market for parents who are desperate for any help and to keep their young children safe online. Parental control apps are mobile apps that help parents to manage their children's activities online and safeguard their online safeties. In the UK, there is a large proportion of adoption of these apps, with 7 in 10 families have tried to use some sort of parental control apps. We see a similar trend in the US, with 72% of the families have used the parental control apps to restrict how much their children use screens. Apparently, there is obvious consensus that we need to do better to keep our children safe online, helping them with the screen time addiction, etc. However, what has been less discussed amongst the rapid change is how these technologies are diminishing children's digital autonomy and resilience in this rapidly changing digital society. Children can't control their urge to stay away, what they see, or who should be their friends. Controlling their screen time is no longer able to address all the issues. We argue that in addition to all the attention of keeping children safe online, we must reflect how we can keep our children be children and let them flourish with respect and autonomy. There are 3 particular reasons for us to foster alternatives to parental controls. First of all, they are insufficient to support the children's understanding of datafication risks. Back in 2017, we have begun to investigate the wide existence of third-party data trackers associated with the freemium mobile apps. Behind the cute characters, a huge amount of children's data could be collected, shared, and processed, and used to manipulate what they see and experience online. Such behaviors still remain less commonly known to the general public, and our case studies in 2017 to 2018 have seen that even grown-ups struggle to make sense of datafication practices and make informed decisions. Before the beginning of KOALA, we conducted a systematic review of the design patterns used by parental control apps on the market space. The market is dominated by protection and restriction-focused designs, which not only diminish parents' and children's trust relationships, but also hardly effective. Children can easily get by the restrictions while learning nothing. Indeed, parental control apps do little to support the children's development of digital resilience, which is critical given the wide datafication practice around them. It is particularly timely to investigate this challenge, given that in the UK, as well as the rest of the world, we have seen rapid legislation changes in terms of protecting children's data privacy online and online safety, by recognizing the data-based algorithmic risks. literature further confirms that this awareness of datafication risks is a particular gap in children's current digital literacy. A protection and restriction-focused approach won't equip the children with the skills and resilience that are essential for their safety online. As a result of these design investigations and some initial co-designs with families in 2019 to 2020, we have created the KOALA Hero Toolkit, which contains both a digital Android app and a set of physical cards and a task sheet, making it a hybrid toolkit for families. Here we'll show you more about the toolkit and how we see it can help families develop better resilience against datafication risks. We are motivated with 3 research questions. By starting with understanding families' current perceptions of datafication risks, and then we dive deeper to understand how KOALA may affect families' perceptions and the thought process of making informed decisions. Last but not least, we would like to know more about the barriers for their adoption of such toolkits at home and how we can address them. We drew inspirations from CAFE's critical algorithmic theory in our toolkit design to particularly encourage children's cognitive, situated, and critical thinking about algorithms and related datafication practices. Although we do not position our toolkit for education purposes, the theory provides us a structured way to support children and their families' perception of datafication. We purposefully provide support to help children connect their real-life experiences during their use of KOALA to encourage situated and critical thinking. Our results have shown that this design has been critical to help children make better sense of the rather abstract information that is presented to them. The second set of design considerations was derived from our design review in 2021, which highlights the importance of supporting high level of communication, transparency, and medium level of control to optimize children and the parents' co-learning and co-development. So, here are some of the key functions for the KOALA Hero app. To begin with, a user will start with Introduction Dashboard, which provides a 1-minute intro video, helping users establish the basic cognitive understandings about the app and the data trackers, portrayed as different types of elves. Then the app dashboard provides a summary of all the apps on children's device and the number of trackers associated with each app. This gives the children a situated understanding of the datafication risks. The tracker dashboard provides a summary and ranking of all the trackers found on children's device, which was suggested in our initial co-design exercise as well, fostering their situated thinking and encourages families to explore apps and trackers associated with higher risk factors. We also provide other kind of functions, including a tracker review for each app, giving detailed explanations about each tracker, a map view to visualize the trackers, and a tracker control button so that children can block certain trackers, helping them with a sense of achievement. The second component of our toolkit is a set of 18 data cards, ranging from account, username, personal information such as age, gender, location, as well as their online behavior data. They represent the most significant categories from our analysis of major platform privacy policies. These cards can be used as physical cards, played by children and parents, helping them understand and talk about the data associated with their mobile apps and contextualize their activities. The third component of our toolkit is a task sheet. This was inspired by both our pilot studies as well as experience with many hybrid board games ourselves. It offers directions for families to effectively navigate through the KOALA Hero Tracker app and utilize the KOALA Hero data cards. Families can use these sheets to talk about different types of datafication risks that can be associated with their children's favorite apps and physically place the data cards on the sheets, creating a visually compelling recording of their discussions, observations, and reflections. To assess the effectiveness of the toolkit, we conducted a series of semi-structured interviews with families. In total, we invited 17 families, often involving one parent with 1 to 3 children, to our Oxford lab between June and August 2023. The interviews contain both a hands-on experience for us to observe how families interact with koala and how koala may affect their thought process. Each interview is conducted with a reflection session for families to share with researchers how they feel about the toolkit may affect their perceptions about datafication. Participants were sourced from our local schools based on a network and the public family recruitment forum starting from April 2023. We had a diverse set of families with varied demographic backgrounds such as education levels, gender, and ethnicity. We also wanted to reach out to children aged both below and above 13 years old because the technology is being discussed in case of different experiences. It was crucial for us to observe how families make use of the different components of the toolkit and how this influences their thought process about datafication. We found the families frequently engaged in contextualized reflections by recording real-life experiences to help them understand better. For example, the 12-year-old child mentioned here. Remember when we liked socks on Instagram and then saw them on Amazon? That's them sharing our info, an insightful discussion with their parents during the study. Families also showed various ways of critical thinking, for example, to self-reflect the impact of losing control of various data points, as said by the 13-year-old child here. To me, each data card is like a box they've created for people. They make assumptions and put people into distinct boxes. At the same time, we also noticed that families start to reflect more deeply about the whole society and the future of technologies, as discussed by the parents here. We will not be able to discuss all the key findings from our paper, but we would like to highlight that families express steep surprise about the amount of data that could be empirically collected while their children interact with their mobile devices. Children expressed a better sense of empowerment and awareness. For example, said by this 13-year-old, I did kind of know they're collecting from us, but I just didn't realize it's this many. Further, families showed a more nuanced understanding about different roles of stakeholders in this space, which gives them a much better structure to talk about these kind of practices. Last but not the least, families shared how they felt they had a better awareness about impact of datafication on children. Some parents recognized that they could no longer bubble wrap their children, and even children as young as 10 expressed their feeling of revelation. From this experience, not only we learned valuable lessons about how our different design components affect families, we also noticed a range of so-called triggering moments during families' interactions with the KOALA toolkit, which have been critical to structure families' thought process. For example, families express their surprises when they see scenes right in front of them for the first time, and the ability to actively exercise control has triggered lots of extensive discussions. These so-called trigger moments correspond very well to Kolb's learning cycle, advocating an effective learning journey developed from concrete experience to abstract conceptualization and then active experimentation. Again, although KOALA was not intended as an education toolkit, we found these trigger moments, as well as bonding moments, have been particularly useful for raising families' cognitive awareness, which is fundamental for them to develop and exercise autonomy. An important dimension of our research is to foster children's fundamental rights in the digital context. As outlined in the General Comments 25, published in 2021, all children should have all their rights to be not discriminated, their best interests respected in all digital services. Children's rights are undermined by many existing platforms and technologies, and also many parental control apps. It is a critical time to reflect how it is critical that we are not taking an overprotective approach but aiming to keep children safe while withholding their rights. Here, children's digital autonomy is an important part for children's digital rights, but have been largely underexplored so far. Thank you very much for your attention.